So first thing I want to ask you about, okay, you sent me a video a few weeks ago. All right, I'm going to show the video.
So I just got yelled at for asking a very reasonable question. So I'm applying to go somewhere, and I just wanted to know, are there accommodations for people who struggle with time blindness and being on time, you know? And then the person I was with interrupted and acted like I was asking something else, and then when we were done, they actually started yelling at me and saying that accommodations for time blindness doesn't exist, and if you struggle with being on time, you'll never be able to get a job. You know, provided you're trying your absolute best to be there. And then they're like, your stupid generation wants to destroy the workplace. And yeah, I think that a culture where workers are just cut off because they struggle with being on time, when there's other solutions that we can look to, I think that just anybody who thinks it's okay to just treat people like that, yeah, that culture needs to be dismantled. And then I asked that person, how can you feel good about yourself upholding this kind of system? And then to think I'm entitled. No, if people think it's okay to treat others like this, that's entitlement.
So you sent me that video because you were surprised by it, right? What surprised you about that?
Just the concept of what they call quote unquote time blindness. You know, it's really simple to try to play yourself as the victim for not doing simple things, just as being on time. You know, being on time is not that hard. So I saw in that video where, you know, this girl is saying, like, can you make accommodations for time blindness? And obviously the boss was like, no, because, you know, there's nothing replacing being on time. You can have accommodations for other things, and that's fine. You know, you may have an extension on an assignment or a work thing. That's fine. But there's nothing replacing the simple thing of being on time. You can future plan for that. You can control that, right? So you can decide when you set your alarm. You can decide when you wake up and go get in your car to go to work or school or whatever. You know, that's something you can easily control. It's very simple. So I was really surprised that this girl would try to make people feel sorry for her for just not being on time and doing a simple life thing.
So let's backtrack for a minute and explain what time blindness means. Okay. So time blindness is something that people with ADHD experience, which means they have difficulty feeling time. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now, do you remember back in the day, I don't remember what grade, when your mom got you that clock to color in? Do you remember that?
We still have it.
You still have the clock?
We still have it's in my basement somewhere. Yeah.
Really? Okay. So you learned early on that this is something that's important.
Right.
Okay. So let's just say hypothetically you didn't learn early on that is something important, that you had to be on time. Let's say you had to figure that out now in college. I would ask you, would you expect your professors to say, okay, we'll accommodate you being late because you have time blindness?
No, you should have learned it earlier. That's what they would have said to me, is that, you know, the world doesn't revolve around you, right? You know, it's a two-way street. You have to give to other people as well. So if I'm not showing up on time for a class, you know, and I've done it plenty of times, I'm guilty as charged. Okay. If I don't show up on time for a class, the professor is not going to go and start over and say, oh, Ben, you know, you were late, so we're going to start the whole lecture over for the rest of the kids. You know, I missed what I missed. You know, I have to rebound because of that. So
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. Okay. And I'm going to say what I would think that young woman would reply to that with. Okay. That I can't help it because I have ADHD. And if you don't give me accommodations, well, then basically you're discriminating against me because I can't help that I have time blindness.
But that's just playing the victim. That's just playing a victim card. And, you know, that pisses me off, you know, because I don't want people, because of my disability, to immediately think, oh, you know, he's a victim, we should treat him differently. You know, I'm a real person too, right? You know, I have to get up in the morning. I have to get up on time. You know, no matter who you are, you know, disability or not, there are some things in life that cannot be bent, cannot be accommodated. And that's just tough luck. You know, you have to deal with it. So the fact that she would play the victim card in this scenario and try to make people feel bad for her or feel sorry for her, it just looks bad, really.
So I explained this to you, but there's millions of videos like this on TikTok.
That's scary.
Okay. And what they would respond to, again, I'm playing devil's advocate, they would say is, well, you're being ableist, meaning you're discriminating against people with disabilities, if you believe that.
That's silly. I'm sorry. I just have to call it out for what it is because I'm pretty direct about this. It's really silly that, for some of these, factors of life that cannot be changed, that you will just pull out the, oh, you're being discriminatory because I have a disability.
Right.
I've not done that once in my entire life.
Right.
Because I don't want people seeing me as a victim. I want people seeing me as a real person that can be independent, do his own things, and as well as manage their time and their life like other people, like a person in a functioning society should.
I agree with you. Yeah.